Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Hello everybody and welcome back to the iGPFun F3 League here for the final season in 2023. We're 3 rounds now from the conclusion of this championship. It's round 10 at the Detroit Grand Prix. Belle Isle is our venue for the round of the championship, and what a place to go it is as well. Up here in one of the bizarre places in the world where Canada is actually south of you in some parts of Detroit. It's a bit weird, but it's true. It's a very difficult circuit around here as well. Very bumpy. Difficult to negotiate, some fountains, some regular roads, some street roads of course, and some very, very difficult and high speed, surprisingly, corners for a street circuit. Here to take you through the action, it's myself, Ewan, and Team Biggles alongside me on this occasion. We're looking forward to this, Biggles. I know you've been watching practice and qualifying, and you're fearing about what might happen during the race.
I am fearing. Welcome everybody out there. Phil across the pond, evening to you as well. I am, because it's bumpy, it's dusty, and those walls take absolutely no prisoners. And on top of it, well, during practice session, there was quite a few people banging, knocking on the wall a few times there, smashing all over the place. But during qualifying, I think at the moment, Ewan, they've really started to spread out and find the gap in the track if there is. There's not a lot because about 40-something cars and change. But I think before we go too far into that, let's have a look at how the championship's panning out.
Yes, these are the total points that they've accumulated over the course of today, or the season I should say, and this does not include 2 drop rounds, so bear that in mind. Kenzie Newhoff leads the standings by 3 points ahead of Max Bartolotta, with Antonio Jimenez in 3rd. Luca Verani is only a few points ahead of Robert Ridgway, with Connor Gibb down there in 6th place, getting better as the season goes on, I've got to say. Craig Seitz is 7th ahead of Adam Townsmer, then Chuck Morrow and Pato Suarez round out the top 10. Suarez actually gains a lot of places when you apply the drop weeks. Christian Clamsey just outside the top 10. Andy Flint, Ivan Zuranau and Evan Way, the final drivers, to have more than 200 points. Stuart Milne is in the 15th position on 195, and they are your top 15 from the iGPFun F3 League standings after 9 rounds. This is, of course, round 10. Now, I mentioned, I'll just mention the bottom 5 as well here, the next 5. Edwin Amos is 16th ahead of Jack Williams. Then we've got Samuel Hermer, Ben Goet and Moritz Otlovs to round out the top 20. I will just mention here as well that if you do apply the 2 drop weeks, it's becoming a little bit of a 2-horse race between Kenzie Newhoff and Max Bartolotta. They're tied on points with 2 drop weeks applied. That keeps things very exciting for us because who knows which way this championship is going to go. So, very much looking forward to these final 3 rounds. It's all to play for between Newhoff and Bartolotta, with 21 points back to Tony Jimenez, who needs to start gaining some points, in all honesty, if he wants to be involved in this championship fight.
Yes, and at the moment he's P7 in the grid. So you could see currently at the moment during the end of the qualifying session that we're dying down to, or the dying stages of the qualifying session. 1 second separating the top 17. Which we've seen how close it has been this season. And on top of that, so this is going to be crucial really for qualifying, isn't it? Because one little mistake into the fence and there's going to be a big pile up there, Ewan. And so if you're looking to grab some nice bucket of points there towards the end of the season, which a lot of drivers need, well, you've got to stay out of trouble. And unfortunately, if you're in the midfield or even at the back, trouble's going to find you.
That's pretty much the end of qualifying in terms of the top 6. None of them are on lap times at the moment. Jimenez and Seitz are still out there on the circuit, but I'm not sure if they're improving or not out there at the moment. We'll just have a bit of a look. Maybe Jimenez is coming towards the end of the lap right now, and he seems to be pushing, slides his way through the penultimate turn. That was 13, then 14, which is all about maximising your exit onto Sunset Drive and onto the the start-finish line and the line itself. He may have gotten a 0x for tapping the wall there, though, and I don't think his lap time counted. Doesn't look like it did. So Jimenez will stay 7th. The big news, though, is that we don't believe Kenzie Newhoff is in the session here today. Can't find him anywhere out there on the circuit, so it's a big opportunity for Max Bartolotta to gain some points. And because of the way that the drop weeks work, Max Bartolotta is guaranteed to have at least 5 points of a championship lead at the end of today.
That's going to be very, very good for the Italian driver, 157, although not so good for his qualifying performance in the middle of the pack there, 15 actually. Not really the middle, because considering we have 46 drivers on this grid. And I've been doing a lot of testing and everything like that behind the background there for the broadcast, so I do apologize for last week's shenanigans of the, computer issues, trying to process all those cars and things like that. Been doing a lot of testing, make sure I can handle it. There's a little statue there and a couple of just people hanging out there. Not much of a grandstand sold out there. There it is.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
What are they doing? I would love to know.
Just chilling, Look, there's a boat over there too if you want to go fishing, if you're not interested at the moment in the motor race. But I tell you what, I'm going to be tuned in for sure. We're just babbling on at the moment because we're waiting for the dying seconds of the qualifying. Yeah.
I've never seen that before. That really tickled me. I don't know what's going on there, but it was quite funny. So,
do you like this track? It's some people love it, some people hate it. I mean, I like street circuits. Really, at the end of the day, brings a lot of attention.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better street circuits, I've got to say. I do enjoy racing around here, and I think it provides ample overtaking opportunity as well, which is what you sometimes don't get from these. Let's have a look at the starting grid, though. Jesper Sandström will start on the front ahead of Samuel Hermer, with Andy Flint and Christian Glamseter on row 2. Andrea Katter will be alongside Will McIntyre Jones on row 3, ahead of Tony Jimenez and Greg Seitz. Pedro Suarez and Conor Gibb round out the top 10, with Clark Williams and Jerome Lamy rounding out the top 12. Then it's Evan Way and Luca Verani. Max Bartolotta, tied championship leader, only 15th off the start. He needs at least a top 5 to make this round count. Chuck Morrow, 16th ahead of Richard Wedstead and Adam Townsmer. Rishi Taparia and Patrick Rowlands round out the top 20. Sebastian Graveland and Stuart Milne are on row 11 ahead of Robert Ridgway and Vladislav Potapenko. 25th is Nick Carty. Jack Willems alongside him, with Zoltan Zamota and Marek Zotlovs. Ben Goyet and Ivan Zurnau round out the top 30. Koji Ito is 31st ahead of Reno Scatini. Alex Hopkins and Chris Stewart are on the next row. Eddie Amos and Reed Dennis make up row 18. With 37th place being taken up by Giovanni Solito. Dorian Arroyo is in 38th ahead of John McKenzie and Marcelo Kessler. That's the top 40. Then we have Oscar Artignano, then Maximilian Gebhardt, Matthew Gracie and Marcus Hudson, those who have gridded up for the moment. I'm not sure if the final two drivers, Andrei Wazowski or Jug Kelstrup, are going to get onto the grid or not. So far they haven't, and I fear that there won't be enough time for them to do so. So we may well be rolling with 44 off of the start here at Belle Isle. What a race it's going to be, though. It's going to be very, very busy for absolutely everybody. Stay out of the walls, negotiate the bumps, and negotiate all the other drivers in the race, because it's going to be a very, very busy one on the streets of Belle Isle. The lights are about to come on, and Jesper Sandström and Samuel Hermer are about to have a drag race towards turn 1 here, and that run all the way down to turn 3 as well, of course. The lights are out in Detroit, and we're underway for 35 laps of racing. It will string out single file through here because Jesper Sandström has gotten off to a good start. Samuel Hermer's second, ahead of Andy Flint, and then it's Christian Glamseter, who's very close behind in 4th place, but no active overtaking, of course, for the start here until you get through the opening moments, and then you can go for it. And Christian Glamseter certainly does. Down the inside into turn 3 he goes, and into 3rd place he goes. Andy Flint back now to 4th. Then it's Andrea Kata in 5th, Will McIntyre Jones 6th, and the rest of the field will string itself through. It looks like we've gotten off to a good start. I think everybody has gotten through the opening 3 corners cleanly.
Brilliant job, but absolutely amazing. The drivers are respecting the boundaries and the limits because they realize, hey, we have a long race to go here. So get it done properly. You get to see the checkered flag at the end. There is a couple of incidents of crashes, but at the moment you can see at the very front end, the business end, yep, a couple of gainers and losers, and at the moment it is good racing. We want to see a good overtaken opportunity. We want to see a motor race, and we are currently at the moment producing in Detroit.
We absolutely are seeing a motor race here. It's fantastic. Positions gained inside the top 10. Christian Glamseter has gotten up 1. Greg Seitz as well as Connor Gibb, all making up 1 place so far inside the top 10. A bit further back, we've seen great starts from Robert Ridgway. He's up 6. Ivan Zur now up 4. Further back in the field, there's been some very, very good starts on the opening lap here at Belle Isle. 35 laps around here. It's going to be a relatively short race, in fact, because it's a short circuit and the speed is actually pretty high for a street track, and so it's going to be a fast and furious one. You can't hang about here, and Connor Gibb certainly won't. He gets very close to Tony Jimenez now, who's already lost 1 place on the start. He might be about to lose a second. Connor Gibb tentatively edges his way alongside. He's on the inside for turn 4 as well, though, and he'll get through into 8th place, and so that's 2 places made now for Connor Gibb and 2 places lost for Tony Jimenez.
Fantastic overtaking and clean and to the book. Really, textbook. This, they are going to be, remember the tires are all fresh at the moment, and now they're going to start, the nerves are going to start creeping out, and then what they're going to do is that they're going to start taking little gambles, because there is there's a gamble, there's an accident.
Oh,
that's
no,
Christian Glamseter.
Big accident, I'm afraid. At the right-hander, just in front of the fountain, that's turn 8, and we've seen big incidents here. Christian Glamseter involved, unfortunately. It was a side-by-side moment on the way in here. Oh. Glamseter breaks too late into the wall, and he's caught by another couple of drivers as well. He does well actually to reverse out the way there and get himself out of harm's way, but Christian Glamseter is back to the pit lane, and Andrea Kata was the car and the driver who clipped him on the way past.
Yeah, and luckily he just disappeared because he towed, and that's a great thing to do. It's going to painfully hurt you, of course, because all that tow time back to pit road and all that, but considering how tight and twisty this track is, otherwise he would just be destroying other people's races. So, yeah, hats off to drivers that do that. Once again, it's very difficult. But at this point, we have another accident. And, he's okay to probably turn around here, but it's going to take some time, isn't it? Because there's a bunch of traffic.
Yeah, there's on the exit of turn 2, it looks like. It is, yeah. And
careful! Not yet.
Careful! Oh no, that was near disaster. And he might get in trouble for that.
He's the front,
clipped his rear wing off as well.
Yeah, that's difficult, isn't it? Because he thought all the drivers have passed. This is a race that you really need a spotter with, isn't it, Ewan? You need somebody to be looking over your shoulder and giving you every little bits of information you possibly can, because so much traffic, as you can see. You want to be able to turn around. You don't want to lose too much, but at this point, if you do have a spin or a crash, you're pretty much going to go from whatever position you're in, plump last.
The go aboard there briefly with Luca Verani. He always passes a few notes before the start of these races. I'm not sure whether he was talking generally or about this race in particularly, but he said prolonged fighting early on accomplishes absolutely nothing. So I think we know what he's going to do here, in which case, not fight anybody. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, because we see it time and time again. He builds his seasons on consistent and staying out of trouble type performances. That's how he's got to 5th place in the standings. He's only 27 points off the championship lead of Kenzie Newell for Max Bartolotta as well, by the way. As Alex Hopkins makes his way down the inside of Zoltan Zamotta. That was at turn 1. Oh, and Zamotta may have found himself in the wall there. I think he did just grab it on the exit of 2. And that's going to allow Nick Carty to close in as well. And does Zamotta have damage? Doesn't look like it, actually. Party will just tuck in behind by the looks of things, so that's good news there. But Zamotta just clipping the wall slightly, that's not good news. It's going to happen to almost everyone, though, I would imagine, over the course of this race.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think remember in Vegas they had a little, I can't remember what it was, but they had this little sensor or whatever. It says, how close you are to the wall, wasn't it? They got about 1 centimetre or something like that. I'd love to see if they had one of them. Yeah, add that, please, iRacing. It's just a little bit of technical information. I just want to see who's the one that gets closest to the wall. At this point, you probably have a few drivers that will be scraping a little bit of those tyres into the fence, signing your Sharpie, getting a Sharpie out there with the tyres and signing your autograph. Right?
They'll be showing 0 centimetres, I would imagine, as close to the wall, because they will have hit them. That was very close as well. Battle for the highest position in the field at the moment is between Greg Seitz and Connor Gibb. This is for 5th place. We go on board with Connor Gibb now, who's 6th place in the championship, 6th place in the race as well, although not all of those ahead of him in the championship are ahead of him on the track. He'll be glad to know, or he'll be glad to know, certainly. Down in towards turn 3 he goes right now. Greg Seitz not really under pressure at the moment. He's holding this at half a second. Gibb needs to be a lot closer than this if he wants to try and make his way through, but already the top 5 are getting themselves pretty spread apart for this early stage in the race.
Oh, I love these, like the fences are so close, isn't it? We try to get an idea. We can go cockpit and see how very difficult it is for Connor, and just put yourself in his racing boots at the moment. He's going to drop it down in the 2nd gear. He's going to spot the apex there, hug it like your favourite grandma, as Martin Brundle would say. Get on the power. Get it out wide to the fence there. Those chicanes, of course, as well, too. They'll lift that car up. These cars are very, very light, these F3 machines, so you don't want to go too far onto it, otherwise you'll be in that fence. And here we go, Connor Gibb, of course, on the charge there of Greg, just up the road there, the number 74 machines on his target list.
Great riding on board here with any of these drivers, really. And one of the things also that Luca Verani said is that it's a mentally tough challenge around here for 35 laps. In VR, you're sort of bobbled around, especially, and the bumps really make you your eyes go a bit funny, as Luca Verani told us. It just makes things a bit difficult. And you can see the way the cars are sort of dealing with the bump. The suspensions as well, so visible in these cars. It's a tough challenge around here. And 35 laps, I said, it's going to be a fast and furious race. Doesn't seem like a long break, but it is a long way around here. It's a mentally difficult day.
Yeah, and we just saw, Clark Williams just touched the apron there, the chicane, and that's just now you imagine. I don't know if anybody has seen, of course, Las Vegas GP, but you know how they have the helmet cam, right? And that was at nighttime, right? Yeah. You couldn't see anything in the helmet cam. We see just blur. And you got to talk about, Luca was talking about in VR, right? I mean, these bumps are going to shake you around on your head. You're gonna be bopping. Your eyes have to focus in every single, and just like a little bit of a breather. Not much of a breather that you have, because it just turns after turns after turns. And then the only little straightaway you get, of course, is after turn 3. I believe after turn 3. And then that's it. A little bit of a breather there. Maybe scratch your nose, or, if you've got an itch or something like that, or just take your hand off the steering wheel for a second and just a little stretch. And then back on it again. And then grueling concentration.
Yeah, it's a grueling race. A very difficult one, and it's even more difficult to find your way through as well. Luca Verani trying to do exactly that, trying to get himself ahead of Clark Williams. Around turn 1 and 2 they go. I don't think that exit was good enough, though. Verani needs to be a lot closer than that. Connor Gibb is close enough. He goes for it on Greg Seitz and has a look at the outside line. Needs to be careful out there. If you find yourself on the outside, you need to be very careful that you don't get pushed out wide and into the wall, because Connor Gibb very nearly found himself there.
You called it for the Russ Racing team of Greg. held off for now, hold off the attack. Meanwhile, the two at the front there, I'd have to say, Ewan, I'm just building a comfortable gap at the moment. They're lapping in the 20s. There's only a few drivers in the 120s. The rest of the drivers are in the 121s, so that's pretty good. I think that was an incident, I think. Richard, let's have a look what's happened here. Get the right camera angle, of course.
Richard Wedstead through the... he's already got suspension damage by this point, I think, and that's going to be the definite end of his day.
Well, it's not too bad considering the stacked grid that we have and only a few drivers making mistakes. Still early days, of course, but impressive. Very impressive. You and I, my friend. I think I'd be in the fence after first corner alone.
It is very early days. 5 drivers have been down pit lane now, although only one hasn't rejoined. Well, Richard Wedstead, we're waiting to see if he'll rejoin. Christian Glamseater has not rejoined, I'm afraid, and he will be our first DNF. But the other 3 have returned back onto the racetrack at least, which is a good thing. It will mean later on, though, that traffic's going to be a problem, isn't it, really?
Oh, yeah.
There's not much space around here. The back of the field is not that far from the front of it already, and traffic's going to be an issue today.
It's going to be like like the traffic in the United States, probably to get in half the freeways and stuff. It's like Los Angeles traffic, isn't it? But we're all the way over here in Detroit. I've never lived in Detroit. I lived in Minnesota, is what closest I've ever been to this neck of the woods. But at the moment, this is about the closest that Connor Gibb is still continuing to be on the back of Greg's machine. And once again, finding it difficult to get around. Look at the track map as well, too, as you mentioned. So at some point, that number 1 machine is going to start catching up to that number 40 machine, and that traffic, wow, yeah, exactly. That's going to be, hey, you thought the concentration was through the roof, Ewan. Well, you're going to have to be a lot more, isn't it? It's a bit of a gamble. This is not Las Vegas, but you're going to be gambling on those, overtaking those cars. As Sandstorm gets the quickest lap, he's in the 120 club still. I think the only one in the 120 club.
We have seen Andy Flint do 1 minute 20, but I don't think he's managed to do any other. Sandstrom's the only one to have done multiple, and he is fastest out there by some distance. Connor Gibb looks faster than Greg Seitz here as well, and the American knows it as well. He defends again. Now, will Gibb do something a little bit different? He doesn't try around the outside this time. He tried to get the cutback and maybe a run for turn 4, but he's nowhere near and can't get himself down the inside for 5th place. So Connor Gibb continues being stuck behind, and Jimenez and Suarez are both catching up as a result of this.
Somebody say, come on, Max, send it. Well, here's Max. He can't send it from here because he's got Even in the way. That's a surname, by the way. Even way. I love that. No puns intended, my friend. But you gotta make use of a cool name. And then you got Clark Williams up the road there, and then Luca. So that's the battle that's brewing here, and they're all just sizing each other up at the moment, aren't they? Just waiting for a mistake to happen. The Canadian at the moment certainly trying to see even get past Clark Williams.
He's very close behind, looking for that top 10 at the moment. Evan Way through the penultimate turn, just misses the apex there, and I don't think he's quite going to be able to get close enough on this occasion unless he has a good run round 1 and 2, because he is still relatively close actually, and he'll have the benefit of a double slipstream as well. To turn 1 they go. He sends it in, does Clark Williams, but that's not good for his exit. Evan Way's going to have a much better one, I would imagine, but he's not quite close enough at this stage. Williams a lot closer to Varani. Maybe he'll be making the moves. No, is the answer to that. This is the group back from 9th place. There's also one back from 5th place, and that's what you tend to get around here a little bit, is lots of groups forming, because they do on occasion find it a little bit difficult to overtake.
Oh, here we go. If you want groups, just further back here in the 19th place. The classic overtaking area right here, and that's textbook there for the very lovely coloured paint scheme there, isn't it? There. Oh, all over, and a nice power slide out of the corner goes to show he's putting the effort in there, and that's just, got a job done.
Jacques Willems in the multicoloured car, if you like, in 18th place. Patrick Rowland seems to be struggling. He was the one overtaken there. Potapenko very close behind. Zura now Otlovs, Zamotta, and that's about it, but there's a lot of them behind him. This is Andrea Catu, who has made his way back out onto the circuit again after hitting Christian Glabseater earlier, but he's already used his fast repair. Well, he'll be wishing he had another one now, because he's made contact with the wall twice there, and I think that might be the end of his day.
That was back on lap 7, by the way. Well, laps aren't really so much going to be counting around here, but just to let everybody know, at the moment it's They were lap 11, so it was a little bit ago. I didn't want to try not to miss the action. There's a few overtakes and things like that. I'll try to get in the replays when we have time, which we do actually. Surprisingly enough, these drivers are giving us a little bit of a breathing space, at least for the production trailer. But, you know, Connor Gibb is putting the pressure on Greg and still continuing to put that pressure on. And he has to, actually, because look at that in the background there. You have Tony and Pedro. So you got the Spaniard and the Portuguese driver starting to zero him in. So, all right, if you're a supporter there of England, come on, England. Well, got to get it done. Because the USA driver of Greg is going to try to deny him again and again, as he has before.
I think by supporter of England, you mean someone who is English, because I can't think of anyone who isn't English who would support us. But anyway, that's for another day. So yeah, we'll see if Connor Gibb can make his way through very shortly. He's in fifth for the moment. Sorry, looking for fifth at the moment, I should say. Greg Seitz is the one just up in front right now, and so far can't find his way through. We are starting lap 12, by the way. It's a 35 lap race here this afternoon, so about a third of the way through so far. This is Marcus Hudson. Oh, he's getting things wrong through the penultimate turn and does get in the wall.
Oh yeah, he just completely towed that one. Also another little moment, this you can see the bump there, right? I'd say it's gonna, oh no, actually I thought it was gonna swing the rear end out. Oh, there's a little tap in the
he's got the inside wall.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
And meanwhile, we've had another incident somewhere. This is a little bit further back. This is live. I just saw an overtake. Oh, wow. They are really pouncing at the moment, aren't they? There's a whole level of speed between. This is back in the 21, 22, and 23rd positions down the main straightaway. We're going to have a 3 and a 1. Don't do it, gentlemen. Don't do it. Oh.
That's Otlov's down the inside, and he does not get through. Even Zura now, I think it gave Václav Potapenko a bit of a go there, but couldn't do it. And Otlov's tried to make his way through as well, couldn't do it either. Zoltans and Motta further behind. It's all in a line. That's the biggest group on the racetrack actually out there at the moment. It's not the battle for the highest position though, because that's where we join in with these guys. Greg Seitz and Connor Gibb both fighting for 5th place now. Seitz currently holding this position ahead of Connor Gibb. Then it's Tony Jimenez and Pedro Suarez who are beginning to get strung off the back of this group.
He's got to go
and
for
Seitz,
it soon.
I don't know if he's increasing his pace or whether everyone else is just struggling, but Connor Gibb's getting close now. Up on the curve through 1 and 2. You don't always want to do that. I think he got a bit too close for his own good. He'll be in the slipstream again now and trying to make his way through. I think he does have better straight line speed, but he brakes too early there and he won't find his way through unless Greg Seitz makes a mistake, which he has. Seitz brakes too late. That's what Connor Gibb was waiting for, but no!
Oh, he's on the racing line
smash.
too. This is going to be very dangerous at the moment. What's he going to do? He has to tow. Yes, exactly. That's going to be so frustrating for the driver after all that hard work, all those laps down the drain after one little mistake. Just one. Just a little tap. Let's go back and look at the replay of that one.
Well, Connor Gibb there made the move in the end. Seitz handed it to him on a plate, and in the end there's a huge smash. It's such a small bit of contact, but it's had dramatic consequences, and Connor Gibb in the end has took him a while to tow actually there because his rear wheel was still spinning so much, but he's back to pit lane now and he'll be bitterly disappointed with that.
Oh, you would as well too. That's going to be something that Stewart's going to look at over and over again. Meanwhile, Sandstrom goes even quicker. He's loving the 120s. You can see he's not the only one. A few drivers are actually in the 120s as well, as you can see the top 3. So they're still keeping each other honest and realise there's plenty of time to go in this race. And now Tony here, well, he has an opportunity to... Wonder if Greg got any damage from that tap into the fence before.
Yeah, I would doubt it actually, because he didn't make actually that much contact. I know the consequences were dramatic, and Connor Gibb certainly does have damage, but I don't think Greg Seitz will do. And it's not obvious damage anyway, because Tony Jimenez would have worked his way through if it was that obvious. So, no, Greg Seitz still holds that 5th position for the moment, and that is a good place for him to be. By the way, is that Jerome Lamy in our YouTube, or Jerome Lamy in our YouTube chat? Why aren't you racing, Jerome?
Yes.
That's what I want to know. Because he's in the session. I think maybe practiced and decided this is not for me, and just decided maybe to watch instead. So we appreciate you watching, but why are you on the circuit? Is what I'd like to know. We'll see if we get an answer to that.
Exactly. We'd like to know that. I think if I was going to say we probably won't have time. I was going to say to pull you in for a quick yarn during the race, but there's kind of too much action at the moment. There is a little bit more action at the moment at the back here with Ewan Way and Clark Williams. Now, obviously, these drivers. Well, Flint just sets the fastest lap there, 20. So they're getting more pace here at the moment. Ewan, why are they starting to find more pace when you think the tyres will start to fall off a cliff a little bit now?
Well, fuel loads are going down, I think, quicker than the tyres are falling off, so that's what's helping them, really. Evan Way very much in the slipstream now of Clark Williams, and he's not close enough again, I don't think. The fact that the difficulty for Way is that he's got Luca Varani, or Williams has got Luca Varani in front of him, and that's giving him just a bit of slipstream down this straight, so actually he's not really able to get anywhere, is Evan Way, because Williams has got slipstream himself. This is what happens further back to Dorian Arroyo in the 29 car. He has broken too much on the rear there, and he's locked his. Oh dear, that's quite bad. He's driving quite well there with 3 wheels, but he'll be back to pit lane as well. Mistakes are starting to creep in now.
Yes, this is that mental challenge that you mentioned, and physical too. Of course, some of the drivers have, as mentioned as well in the race notes that we had, like force feedback settings. You have to turn it down so much. It's just so draining on your arms. You start to get little cramps in there, and fingers start to hurt, and of course you're sweating as well. I don't know whether or not you have your air conditioner on, or if you're in colder part of the world there, open up the window or something like that. But it's draining, of course, and you got maybe you sweat dripping down there. Especially if you're wearing gloves as well, Tim, my friend. You get sweaty in there. People say esports sim racing is just without the G-forces, of course, and the threat of really serious injury. It's still very mental and physically challenging.
Yeah, it is. I guess it is warmer where you are, Biggles, to be fair, because I don't think gloves will be a particular problem in the UK at the moment, and maybe not in the rest of Northern Europe. I don't think Jesper Sandström, for example, is too warm, I've got to say, or indeed Samuel Hermer in second. But I get what you mean. Well, rooms can get warm as well, I suppose, can't they? Especially when you've got the PT going.
Yeah, my computer at the moment is pumping out big time heat on next to me, but yeah, you're right. Depends on where you are. And this is still here we go, Clark. And this is finally, he's sticking his nose in. James would say, you're going to get it chopped off if you stick it too far.
Yeah, you are. And in the end, Evan Way was smart enough to not go for it. And I think this is the change now. Luca Varani has got 1.7 seconds ahead of Clark Williams. And now that he doesn't have that slipstream, Williams, he's really being eaten up. And Evan Way has finally been able to make his way through. I'm not sure whether Clark Williams doesn't have any damage, actually, because he's really struggling out there all of a sudden. I'd like to see the lap time here for this car as it goes over the line. Clark Williams, what's it going to be? It could be in the 23s or so. For Clark Williams, that's 22.3. It wasn't actually as far back as I thought, but maybe he doesn't have any damage actually.
But look at the car. Look at the way he's
not exactly straight.
Driving it. No, yeah, completely. Yeah, you're right. But he's also a little bit off the racing line, a little bit different. The other drivers around him. So we're right on board. Bird's eye view. This is what Clark is going to see, of course. So maybe a little bit out of difference in alignment, and we don't know if he's in VR or whatever. But trust me, he is still in this cockpit cam, no T-cam, none of those cheat codes. You race like a real man or woman when it comes to esports sim racing. And let's see, and that annoying antenna really at the end of the day, but after a while you don't even focus on that, do you? Because you're focusing on the corner at high speed, your braking point, which is about now, drops it down a second. This is where you spot the apex. See, he takes that a little bit out on that one, so I don't know. I don't think he's got any damage.
I think he might be. There's a little straight section coming up here after turn 12, so we'll be able to see now, as long as he's not making any overtakes. I think he's a couple of degrees left-hand down. It's not a lot at all. He may have just scraped the wall somewhere, just knocked one of the steering arms just slightly, but it's not actually that bad. I think he was just adjusting to it at the time, and Evan Way was able to capitalise on that, so he's down to 10th now. He seems to have sorted himself out before Chuck Morrow overtook him, though, which is a good thing, as Greg Sykes continues to hang on to this 5th place. He's held this for nearly 25 minutes now. This is lap number 18 of 35. We're about halfway through, and Sykes is still 5th place.
I love the silver livery on that one too, isn't it? Oh, like a old school McLaren-esque livery. So he's getting it done. But there's big battle brewing here. big battle brewing back here. Once again, the second, third, fourth pack or whatever you have of racing drivers is all here, all live, and right now here on the JP Broadcasting Network. And I think there's an incident up the road, but I'm not quite sure. I'll go back to that replay in a second. I don't think it was related to this, but here we go. If gap car, find it and keep it out of the fence.
Oh, Stuart Milne was off there. He was too late on the brakes into turn 3, I think, and found himself off to the left-hand side. I think that's who was stopped there. He's back up underway into 24th place. He's rejoined right in the middle of a battle, and we'll see that in a moment. But that was not ideal for Stuart Milne, and he's dropped straight back into another group.
Oh, look at the sliding there from Pedro. He's on the gas. He's trying to keep with this pack at the moment. This pack is scored. I think this is Tony's opportunity here. He has to go for it. He has to send it.
Is he going to go right round the outside? No, he didn't go for it. He didn't fully go for it anyway. If he'd have really gone hard through the first pot, he could have got the inside at turn 2, but couldn't do it. And now he's right in the slipstream with Greg Seitz. Looks to the outside again. Seitz is going to squeeze him off and just cut off his angles a little bit. Tony Jimenez won't commit fully round the outside, though. Seitz gives him the room, in fairness to him, but in the end doesn't need to into turn 4. Pedro Suarez can't capitalise, and Luca Varani is here as well. After just running his race again, he's already into 8th, and I would not put a top 5 past Luca Varani at all, even at this stage in the race.
Wow,
there he is.
look at
He's
this.
so close behind the back of Pedro Suarez. He's going to grab a bit of slipstream as well from Tony Jimenez. Surely he's going to just stop this, though, on the way towards turn 8, because he's going to run out of angles here, and he's going to run out of space, and he has backed out of it, mainly because he had to, if he didn't want to end up in that outside wall.
Oh, absolutely fantastic, isn't it? On board, like with that, just how close you are, and one little mistake at the moment, you know you did. It could be race over. And crucial in the championship to get these points there. You want to get it home. You want to bring it home, but you also want to race. You're having fun. Your adrenaline's through the roof. I'd love to have a heart rate monitor on a lot of these drivers, isn't it? I guarantee you it's pumping. So there you go. So you can get your exercise out there, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, in a racing rig, that's for sure, because your adrenaline's pumping. And once again, Greg, what a drive. But you have to say, give it to him. The man's held off under pressure after pressure after pressure. I tell you what, for the Rust Racing team.
Oh, be careful doing
Rust.
that, though.
Yeah. Tony's just giving him a little test, isn't it? Tony's just laying his cards down on the table saying, all right, let's see if you're going to bluff or not.
Oh, you can't go defensive like that and pull back onto the racing line so close in front of him, and as you're going to get hit in the rear doing that if you're not careful. So needs to be wary of that. Jimenez, though, will maybe look down the inside as a result. Or maybe he could do, and on another lap. He's very close on the way towards turn 8 here, but there's no way. Seitz is giving him the inside, surely. Oh, he has done. Jimenez down the inside. There's contact. It's come to an end for Greg Seitz. Into the wall he goes. There'll be damage there now as well. He might well continue on. He may not. In fact, he will actually try and continue. I wonder, he's got no rear wing, though. He's going to have to come down pit lane. What a shame, as Tony Jimenez and Greg Seitz make contact.
Oh, you'd have to say after all that, at some point something was going to brew, wasn't it? And this is how it brewed.
He looked down the inside, did Jimenez, and it was very close between them. I think Jimenez just loses it on the brakes, so doesn't he? Just gets a little bit loose on the rear, and
there it is.
And there's a bit of contact, and Jimenez may well find himself in trouble post-race for that.
Oh, it's just like that, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. This is the biggest, well, it's the fun and the thrills of racing is bringing it home. And Luca, once again, still 7 positions gained. So this driver, at the moment here, the Swiss driver, has done a very good job there in keeping out of the walls, keeping out of the fence, and gaining 7 positions, more than anybody else inside the top 10. That's all you need to do, right? Bring it home, get the points, maximum consistency as well. But he's got Pedro for company up the road.
As things stand, Tony Jimenez would move to 20 points behind Max Bartolotta, the new championship leader, at the end of the day, if things stay as they are. So that's only 1 point gain, by the way, so far. I know Bartolotta is currently 6 places behind Jimenez, but Bartolotta's current worst result is 6th place. Or sorry, second worst result, I should say. So at the moment, that's not going to count for him. This is messy.
Oh yeah, this is why
it's a 3 wide moment in towards turn 3.
Now,
what on earth is going to happen here?
You know that something's going to brew. There's no way that he could turn in like, oh. I wonder if he just completely forgot the breaking point at that one. This is also going to be reacting at the moment. I mean, doesn't take rocket science to figure out, 4 into 1 ain't gonna work. Bang. What would you do in that scenario too as a racing driver? Anybody in the chat, please? What would you do? I would completely back out of it. I would just let them just go into that corner, drop a little bit of time myself, but then at the end of the day, I know that I'm probably going to see the checker flag over that situation. I don't know. That's what
it is easy for us to say in the calmness of a commentary
I was
booth.
going to say,
no,
too deep
Chuck
in the
Morrow!
corner. You saw that.
Oh,
I was
no.
like,
That's way too much speed carrying into there, Chuck. Way.
Well, he chucked it in, and it didn't stick, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Clark Williams has hit him, and he's got no rear wing, and he's feeling the effects of that right now. Clark Williams has got no
have
front
a look
wing.
at the
They
speed
could
he
pull
carried.
together to make a car, maybe, but not on their own. Here it is.
No
Chuck
way you
Morrow
could-
just gets on that curb.
Yeah.
He gets on the curb through turn 4, and he gets loose as a result. Clark Williams has nowhere to go, and now they'll both be in pit lane.
I could understand that because he got very eager at the overtake. It was like, overtake an opportunity, of course. If gap car, bang, sends it in there. But I just saw the speed, as a spectator. I'm not a racing driver, and you do this enough, don't you? And okay, that's too much speed you're carrying into it. And bingo, bang, can't hold it. Good on him for trying his best. And once again, you got to go for an overtake. You're not a racing driver if you're not. But sometimes that gamble did not quite pay off. Let's see if the other drivers get a race message on from their engineer to say, all right, well, calm down, guys, calm down. If you see an opportunity, take it, but don't risk it. Because look what just happened.
Evan Way looks down the inside of Luca Verani there into turn 3. Can't do it on that occasion. And Williams and Morrow are into pit lane. They'll use their fast repair and they'll get back underway again. So it won't actually be a disaster for them. They'll still get decent points today. But so far, it's not as good as it could have been. It's fair to say. Max Bortolotta now up to 9th place. Still needs another 3 places though if he wants to avoid a drop round here for this particular one. There is Morrow. There is Williams. And Ivan Zura now is in the middle of them all of a sudden. Oh my goodness! Someone in the background has gone up and over the back of someone else, and they've gotten airtime.
It's a big smash here.
Huge smash. It's for Alex Hopkins.
rear
He's
wing.
got no rear wing anyway. I wonder if he even knows that. He must do by this point because he's loose and then goes for a spin at turn 2. And someone uses him as a ramp in the background.
That is, he should have. That's something where you don't come back. You can't drive back into pit road like that. No way, not without a rear wing on this track. That's just dangerous. There's going to be a lot of reports at the end of this. You got to just get it pulled to the side there and tow it. You got to, be brave, take it on the chin, just say, all right, it's I got to get a tow, got to get back, because if you don't, mistakes like that happen, and then you're destroying other people's racing. Think of the other people. Don't be so selfish. I do apologize. I'm trying to offend drivers. I'm just like, in the heat of the moment, other drivers are being affected. So think of others too.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a good thing at all there. Sebastian Graveland, I think, was the one who went off the back of him. Not sure who it was. Alex Hopkins was the one with no rear wing, and then there was Koji Ito and Sebastian Graveland, and it's side by side through 1 and 2 here for Clark Williams as he overtakes Ivan Zura now round 1 and 2. Wow. So it can be done, and side by side through there, and Clark Williams is showing everybody quite how. And he's up to 15th place now. But they were the 3 involved. I'm not entirely sure how Alex Hopkins ended up with no rear wing, actually, because clearly it preceded the replay that we saw.
Well, I think initially, if we go back to real quick there, this is how it happened.
He's already got no rear wing here.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even see. It's probably another replay, but we have to go back live, but because it's all happening and brewing up right here with Luca.
They're very close with Evan Way.
Evan Way, actually.
Verani got through one.
More Pedro,
Evan
more than
Way,
anything,
not so long
putting the
ago.
pressure on, isn't it? So let's see if, they're neighbours, aren't they, country-wise? So it's Portugal versus Spain. Which sounds like a football match, doesn't it?
An Iberian battle for 5th position here between Tony Jimenez and Pedro Suarez. Can Suarez make his way through? Maybe. Inside line. It's late on the brakes, and it will be the position.
Wow.
He broke, well, very nearly too late, actually, and I think that's what Jimenez was hoping for. He gave him all that room, and in the end, he has to give the place up as well. So Pedro Suarez is up to 5th position, and where can he get to in the championship this season? He's P7 now. He'll probably move ahead of Connor Gibb today, given the Gibbs demise earlier on in the race. And maybe where can he get to by the end? Not entirely sure, but he's inside the top 5 now in this race.
Impressive, yeah, and that's a nice clean overtake there. Yeah, you got to always risk it for the biscuit sometimes, knowing, all right, I'm going to send it in there. I'm going to have to hit the stop pedal. and hope that it stops in the bumps as well. To remember, you want to also be braking where it's not too bumpy. Otherwise, it lifts the car up, and then of course, the most important part of a motor vehicle. Regardless of that, you can see that driver at the moment, they're completely moving out of the way because they are getting into lap traffic now. But the 4 points of contact, remember, are the most important because it doesn't matter how quick your machine is, how your aero is, how your setup is. If those 4 points of contact are not touching the track, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that is the first thing you check, or should do, when you're driving. Tony Jimenez is not too far away from Pedro Suarez here. He's clearly not letting go. And Suarez has been forced to defend slightly into turn 3. Suarez broke very late last time to make the overtake and does so again, but just not too late. Jimenez couldn't really do anything about that, and he's still in 6th position. Couldn't make his way through there, and he's going to have to fight another day. 9 laps to go at the line, by the way. Not long at all remaining in this race now.
And I think Luca is, he's been sitting back here at the moment for the Swiss driver, just thinking, all right, there is possibilities. This is the battle for P5. There hasn't been too much at the business end of this. As Lorenzo says, I believe I can fly. Or maybe not. These cars can fly. Absolutely, certainly. Remember, they're light and, you know, a lot of downforce, of course. I mean, the downforce isn't keeping the car down on the track there. Oh, that's a tap in the fence. That was Pedro, wasn't it?
Unfortunately, the problem with flying was that it came crashing back down to earth again at the end of all that. But yeah, what a remarkable incident that was on the exit of turn 2. Let's hope we don't see any more of that, though, and we see some good racing here. Pedro Suarez is still in this 5th position, and it's Tony Jimenez we're riding on board with. He's just wide at turn 1, though. I don't think he's going to be able to work his way past now. I think Luca Verani's got more of a chance, but even he is struggling right now. Jimenez will pick up a good slipstream, and he does have good straight line speed, but not good enough. He brakes a bit later. He's going to find himself in a dead end entirely at turn 3 there, and Verani, as I say, got closer, a lot closer in fact, but Jimenez now is having to look over his shoulder as well as trying to make this move.
Yeah, so, and you got Evan Way also lurking in the background for the Canadian driver. This is the 4-way battle for P5. And they're giving it everything. I mean, at this point now, you are really, you're Luca. You say, all right, do I go for it? Do I go for it? Do I go for it? It doesn't look like he is. Is he going to send a dummy? No, he backs off, you see. Oh, allows a little bit of space. But that certainly is going to be throwing something. Tony's going to be thinking about this. Tony's trying to battle. Remember Pedro up the road there. But all of a sudden, he's probably have his spotter in his ear going, you know, watch out for the car behind you. Watch out for the car behind you. And that's quite good, isn't it, for Luca? Because all he has to do is throw psychological games at him, and that, you know, to distract him more than anything. I'd hate to be the driver in the middle, really, of a great battle like this. It's going to be so complicated and hard.
It's not nice. Although Verani arguably is in the middle as well here with Evan Way just behind, so you know, it's not easy for him either. It has allowed Pedro Suarez to get away now, though, and Jimenez can focus all his efforts on defending. Can Luca Verani get his way through? He said that battling early on is pointless, but this is not early on anymore. We're in the final 10 laps, and Luca Verani's looking for a way through. Jimenez defends, and it's very late on the brakes from Verani. Very nearly contact as well, and Jimenez locks up to make sure there isn't. I think he's having flashbacks to the contact he had with Greg Seitz earlier on in this race, that of course he was out of control of his car for. In the end, Verani gets his way round the outside at turn 3 in a very impressive move, and Evan Way will be hoping it's his turn next.
Oh, wow. Wow. That is fantastic driving here at Detroit. And you want to see it. It is hard and difficult to overtake and pass and get it done. But they did. They proved it. They are allowing good space between drivers. And they are respecting each other on the motor race. And also making sure that they're concentrating through the roof there. Because the fence is there. Your fence is probably your worst enemy rather than the cars around you. So it's all about that. And thank you very much for tuning in. My DXT loves that. That looks like a tight race. It certainly is, my friend. In this part of the track at the moment with these drivers. And on top of this, they got a little bit of traffic up the road too.
They certainly do. It's going to be that is going to be a problem for them over the course of the race. Here we go into turns 1 and 2 again. Can Jimenez stop so many drivers from overtaking him right now? It seems to be a bit of a problem. Evan Way tucks in again to the slipstream. I don't think Evan Way's got very good straight line speed compared to some of those around him. He was struggling to make a move on Clark Williams earlier on. He did eventually manage that, but but I think, yeah, he's just struggling in straight line ever so slightly. Nowhere near making the move on that occasion. As we go back to Clark Williams, speaking of which, has he made contact with the wall again, unfortunately, in this race? He's already lost his front wing once, and that's a big hit on the wall as well.
The inside wall as well, too, just clipped it. And unfortunately, and look at Greg. Greg's trying at the moment to regain another position. He's lost 11 here after that incident. And he wants Ben up the road there, who's gained 11. So there it is. So either Ben's going to drop, gain 10, or Greg's going to gain, lose, 10. There it is. Greg's going to send the inside there, and I think there's not so much of a challenge on that one.
Yeah.
So there it is. Greg,
So,
at least the consolation prize would be 10 positions down from now. But still, probably not a happy camper. But still keeping in it, right? Because points are points, you know, at the end of the season. They all count.
Yeah, and he can't. He DNS'd from 2 rounds, so every point really does count for him because he can't fall back on any drop weeks because there are no points in those drop weeks. So he needs to do everything he can on the road, and unfortunately, that's going to cost him today. It's going to lose him at least 2 places, maybe 3, in the championship standings as things run right now. Tony Jimenez still looking for that way through into 6th place ahead of Luca Verani, who I'm still not putting off from a top 5 here today. I think it is still possible for him, although he's nearly 2 seconds behind Pedro Suarez, who's driven very well today and maybe will take that last spot inside the top 5.
Yeah, and we haven't even really clicked over to the hero at the moment, isn't it? Because, yes, but it's just been absolutely amazing, isn't it? Has the fastest lap, I think, at 20.4, yes, and consistently running in the 20s, but traffic here. And thankfully, the driver at the moment completely gets out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to have to talk to James, aren't they, about blue flags? James is not a man you want to talk to about blue flags. Look at the pace that he has. The Scandinavian driver is just blisteringly quick around here. And remember how difficult it is. Hope we get to a little bit of a yarn with him at the end of the session because it's just been absolutely el perfecto. I don't know why I'm speaking Spanish, but whatever you say in Norwegian for perfect is this man.
Well, I'm not even 100% sure if he's Norwegian. He's just got, that's the iRacing Scandinavia flag, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Really a flag, is it?
Yeah, Scandinavia, sorry. Well, he's part of those neck of the woods.
Well, you might be right. You might be right, but I don't know if you are. So, I'll hold fire there because it's because it could go wrong. Luca Verani still in front of Jimenez then and will remain so there. Yeah, Sandstrom has just put on a really incredible drive so far, and everyone's getting quicker now as the fuel load burns. The top 4 have all been into the 120s now, been below the 1 minute 21 mark, on which most of the field have been in.
Robert,
Robert Ridgway is looking for a way through on Adam Townsend at the moment for top 10.
Yeah, and this is another gain, actually. A great game for Robert, because if you look at that, he's done a good job. You have 12 places from your qualifying in this notoriously difficult track. You got to give it to any driver. And in fact, you know, you look at that himself, I mean, apart from the driver behind him, look at that. Sandstrom just sets the fastest lap. As you said, they're burning the fuel down, but you've got a 6-second gap. Ewan, I mean, why would you risk it so much? He must just be like in one of the car, very, very comfortable, because you make a mistake right now. That P1 was pretty much guaranteed it could be over and done with, but I don't think he cares. He's like, I got more pace.
No. He's just going for it. Lap 32 now here in the race. Adam Townsend still ahead of Robert Ridgway at the moment. Some big movers on the left-hand side, as you can see there. Places gained in the day. Robert Ridgway has got 12. Ivan Zurinau has got 15. So has Eddie Amos. But John McKenzie has got 18 places gained so far today. He's in 21st. Started 37th. And you've got to take your hat off to him for managing that one. A fellow Scotsman, by the way, Stuart Milne, is leading the 2500 Championship. I should probably inform you. Here so far in the standings, he's ahead of John McKenzie. So maybe McKenzie will be gaining a few points there. Rina Scatini and Dorian Arroyo are all pretty close as well to Stuart Milne, who's leading the way in those 2500 standings right now. And in the teams, by the way, we've got Hydro Race Racing Forces leading the way by quite some distance. Kenzie Neoff and Pedro Suarez are running away with that title at the moment, and they're looking odds-on favourites for the team's crown in the final season of 2023. Down in towards the 8th turn then goes this battle for 10th place. It looks like this is the final battle inside the top 10 to settle as we get to 3 laps to go at the line.
Quite amazing, isn't it, how they've spread out so much. You can see on the track map as well, Ewan, because we knew during the qualifying, you know, you're talking about top, 14, 15 drivers within a second. And again, qualifying is one thing, races another. But after all these laps, 33 of them so far, they've managed to find lots and lots of gaps on the track map you can see. And, the leaders, once again, are still pushing. What do you think about Robert in the moment? You would just say, okay, I'm going to settle for 11th, or can I get inside the top 10? It's a few laps to go.
I don't think he'd be...
Is it worth it?
I don't think he'd be settling for 11th. I think Ridgway's going to give it everything. Robert Ridgway, by the way, we spoke to him after one of the Super Formula races that we cover on JPB sometimes on Saturdays, and he loves a pun, doesn't he? I wonder what he'll be thinking about Adam Adam Townsend doesn't have a very good name for a pun, though, but I'm sure he could find a way. He was quite good at it, so we'll have to see about that. He's probably not thinking about that right now. He's much rather try and figure his way through as another fastest lap set by Jesper Sandström going on to the penultimate lap now.
Yeah, actually, we should actually give, we don't know, the Scandinavian driver at least a little bit of the spotlight, because that's the only thing when you're running out the front, my dear friend, is that you never get too much camera time, because nobody's challenged you this evening. Nobody. The top three at the moment are started in the top 3 positions, although he's definitely pushing. That tyres are starting to get closer and closer to the fence. He's got traffic.
Oh no, Sandström's gone! Oh no, from the lead of the race! Penultimate lap and he's gone!
Me!
Oh dear, Jesper Sandström has thrown it all away at the end. And on the penultimate lap, Belle has bitten. And Samuel Herman now leads.
That was not on me. That's not on me. If you talk to Zach, he would say, that's not a commentator's curse. I can't believe I just did that. He's going to murder me.
He can't believe you've just done that either. Unbelievable. Jesper Sandström. We were giving him the airtime because we thought he was going to cruise to a race win. But no, he spins out of turn 7 and he's going to be kicking himself.
I was going to where he was pushing so much. Somebody clip that, please. Don't clip it. But yeah, if you want a commentator's curse or commentator's curse, we're just trying to give him a commentator's blessing. Yes, I don't, because the thing, he pushed it, didn't he? After lap after lap after lap, he was getting fastest laps, and he had a 5-second gap or so, 6-second gap at the point. I was like, why? Do you need to push it that much? I mean, Max Verstappen does that sort of craziness. I don't want to sort of call it crazy. He's just feeling one car, but just takes one little step of a moment and little memory lapse, and just like that, my friend, that's it. That race is all done and dusted for him.
Such a shame for Jesper Sandström there. And yeah, such a shame. And Samuel Herman now is going to be on his way to a race win, we think. Don't want to call it too early, but
I'm not
maybe I'll just
switching over yet. I'm not switching over. We'll see about this one.
He's pretty good at the old street circuit, is Samuel Herman. We were at Montreal a couple of weeks ago, and he won there. He managed to win at Road Atlanta earlier on this season as well. This is going to be his 3rd win of the season. He's not a championship contender, but for him to have won a quarter of the races this season with still 2 rounds to go is a remarkable achievement for him. As Robert Ridgway finally looks down the inside. He's late on the brakes this time. And he had to go for it, but no. He's gone for a harsh spin and unfortunately doesn't make his way through. But Samuel Herman come through the final couple of corners, and in the most dramatic of circumstances, he leads his 2nd lap out the 35 and he wins in Detroit. What a drive from Samuel Herman for just tucking in the wings, waiting for that mistake from Jesper Sandström, and eventually it came. Andy Flint and Will McIntyre-Jones are going to join him on the podium, and Pedro Soares will hang on from Luca Verani and Tony Jimenez for 4th place.
Oh, there's a few drivers that have binned it there. Did you see that? Oh! And they're still battling here. Remember, this is still battling. There was a driver before, a few drivers that they had to overtake. You saw one into the fence there. And that's it. This is over, done with now. Wow. And here's Max. So you said, what did he need to achieve here this evening? Well, he's going to finish in P8.
He needed to be inside the top 5 to improve his score. So this will become a drop round for Max Bartolotta. He will drop this one, and he'll have a 5-point championship lead over Kenzie Newhoff. But only 18 drivers finish on the lead lap. I know it's a short lap around here, but that just shows you the attrition rate and the difficulty of this circuit around here at Belle Isle. What an evening of racing we have had, and what a dramatic end to the proceedings here this evening as well. Samuel Hermer, the race winner. He does deserve it, of course, but Jesper Sandström just one push lap too far as he was trying to go even faster. He was trying to set another fastest lap. He is going to be recorded with the fastest lap at the end, but unfortunately, it's this mistake that will come back to haunt him.
Yeah, let's have a look. And I hate to do this to a driver, but there, isn't it? The bumps. Just too quick. I mean, had the pace, but you got to see the checkered flag. You have to see
Jesper's just come into the YouTube
flag.
chat at the moment, by the way, and he's just said, he wasn't even pushing, just zoned out for a moment, and that can happen as well. We said it's a mentally challenging race, didn't we? And that's a prime example of it.
Well, good on you. Thank you very much for chatting on that one as well, too. And of course, in the interviews, if you want to have a bit of a chat to us, that's perfectly fine. It happens to the best of racing drivers anywhere in the world. You can have that moment. Still can't take it away from him.
Yeah.
I always say to a driver at the end of the day, you won that race. That was yours. That little moment was the reason why technically you don't get the points, but you know for a fact that you won it. All you had to do was just one more lap there and you literally had done it. But anyway, let's go to the results.
Yes, let's have a look at those results at the end of 35 laps around here, and it's Samuel Hermer who takes the win. Andy Flint and Will Mackin-Jones join him on the podium. Pedro Suarez held off Luca Verani and Tony Jimenez for fourth in the end, with Evan Way getting detached towards the end. Max Bartolotta as the new championship leader, 5 points ahead of Kenzie Newhoff, with Adam Townsend and Robert Ridgway rounding out the top 10 after their battle. Shaq Williams and Chuck Morrow were the final drivers within a minute. Václav Potapenko, Ivan Zurinau and Marek Sotlovs round out the top 15. In 16th place, it was Greg Seitz. Patrick Rollins and Ben Goyette round out those who finished on the lead lap. Then it was Eddie Amos and John McKenzie. Rishi Taparia dropped a couple of places to finish 21st today, ahead of Chris Stewart, Maximilian Gerhardt. Then it's Oscar Artinano and Zoltan Zamotta. In 26th was Matthew Gracie. Jesper Sandström will be classified 27th at the end of that one. Giovanni Solito, Alex Hopkins and Koji Ito will round out the top 30. Clark Williams 31st ahead of Stuart Milne, who will not be classified, I don't think, and I don't think Clark Williams will be either. Sebastian Gravlund, Reed Dennis, Nick Carty will be added to the list of retirements, along with Reed Dennis, Dorian O'Rourke, Connor Gibb, Renus Catini, Marcelo Kessler, Marcus Hudson, Richard Wedstead, Andrea Catter and Christian Glabseater, all of whom didn't make it to the end. That was a very long list of retirements the end of that race. I'm pleased to say, well, I'm pleased to be able to talk to him, but maybe not so pleased with the result. I'm pleased to say we do have Jesper Sandström now. We can chat to him after the race. Jesper, welcome in. Good to have you with us, but not under the circumstances, unfortunately. Just tell us what happened on that penultimate lap.
Was it the penultimate lap? I didn't really keep track of the laps, and I just tried to stay in the zone, but then I zoned out for a brief moment and realized my rear end wasn't where I wanted it to be, and yeah, from there on, I was a passenger. I'm just really happy I didn't take any collateral damage with me.
Unfortunately, it was, so close to the end. I mean, what was this race like in terms of the concentration? We always get past a few notes from Luca Verani before the races, just for our information. And he said, it's going to be a really mentally challenging race, probably the most of any track of this season. Was that definitely the case from your perspective?
Oh yeah, I've been on duty at the hospital this weekend, so I've been going up real early, so I was in a bad shape mentally to begin with, but yeah, I don't know. I've driven so many laps on the sim that shouldn't happen, but it did, and it is what it is.
Real quick question.
It is.
Sorry, quick question. You said Scandinavia. What country are you from? Sorry, I was saying you're from Norway, but...
I would guess you can tell by my accent, but I'm Swedish.
Oh, Swedish. Okay, yeah, thank you. And just looking back at your race start, you did everything perfect. You got obviously everything perfect up to that point.
Yeah, it was a good run. I managed to break the toe quite early, and then I just tried to pace myself to avoid what eventually happened anyways, but at least I postponed it for a while.
Yeah, it was a shame. By the way, iRacing has us believe that everyone who's got an iRacing account in Scandinavia is Norwegian. But anyway, that's we figured that out now, so that's good. Just one final one from me, Jesper. What's it like coming in this series just for sort of one-off races? I know you're not running for points this season. I know you have in the past, but what's it like this season when you've got sort of no pressure on you? You can just sort of do what you like for a race.
I enjoy it even more this way, and unfortunately I usually have fairly early Monday mornings, so running this late every day or every week isn't really an option. So I was just really happy by the coincidence that I could make this round out of all of the 12 rounds on the calendar.
It's good to have you here. Yes, but thanks for joining us and having a chat to us tonight. And hopefully we'll see you again very soon in the IGP Fun when you can get back on the grid again.
Thank you for an excellent broadcast.
Thanks very much. Jesper Sandström there chatting to us at the end of the night here at Belle at Detroit. A big thank you to him. And thank you to everyone who's been watching on here this evening. It's been great to have you along. It's been myself, Ewan, Leary and Dean Biggles. It's been fun, Biggles. I've got to say I've enjoyed myself around here at Detroit tonight, and only 2 rounds to go now before the end of the championship.
Yeah, exactly. You are 100% right. That was actually one of the best Detroit races I've ever seen. And with a stacked grid like that, you have to give it to the drivers. Absolute respect. Lots of good wheel-to-wheel racing. It could have been turned up in a massive pile-up, taking out half the grid. But goes to show you the skill that they have here at the iGPFun Racing League. And thank you very much, of course, for your excellent broadcasting, as always there, Ewan.
It's been great to have you along. Make sure you subscribe to the JPB YouTube channel for all the other stuff that's going on throughout the weeks, of course. But for now, we'll sign off. I've been Ewan Leary alongside Dean Biggles. And until we see you in 1 week's time at Laguna Seca for the penultimate round of this championship, it's goodbye for now.